Hello everyone and welcome back to my The Young and Restless 24 YouTube channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Sharon and Phyllis eventually having enough and turning the tables on their prisoner. First, Sharon and Phyllis fought among themselves. Also, they tried to make peace. Also, they fought so much more. Indeed, when the suggestions they were given said remission. Phyllis was like, nah. I'd rather howl and yell and play victim, indeed though I'm not the bone. You did commodity too. Now they, like Sinead O'Connor back in the day, have decided to fight the real adversary. Which is whoever is keeping them internee. They come up with a plan together. Will they be suitable to execute it together? Or will it be back to every woman for herself? Summer is sad. We've lost count of why. Kyle? Claire? Phyllis? Daniel? Work? In any case, Chance is there to make her feel more. Will Chance just stroke her on the head? Offer her a shoulder to cry on? Suggest they start dating again? Break effects off formally and for all so she no longer has that to worry about? We're so confused about where their relationship is at the moment that we've no idea which way this could go. Jack loves his family, Tracy, and he's always happy to see her whenever she visits Genoa City from New York. But Jack has his hands so full presently with Diane and her redecorating, Kyle and his situation, Ashley and her uncertain internal health, and Victor and his pitfalls, that he can't really spare important study for Tracy. So, she makes him here because Tracy has commodity to say. Sharon freaked out. Their prisoner exulted. But is anything with Phyllis ever what it seems? Then are 3 plays she could be making to gain the upper hand over them all. Phyllis was so tired of the discussion she and Sharon were having about Phyllis forgiving Sharon that she faked illness just to stop talking. We suspected it was play acting when she claimed to be squeamish but acted like she had cramps and also screamed that her stomach was on fire. Those are 3 different effects. You'd suppose a person who was actually sick would be harmonious. This is actually a plot Sharon and Phyllis came up with together in order to throw their prisoner off guard. They faked the fight about how they'd no way get along, later each. Are we supposed to believe they'd really be having the same discussion constantly? To what purpose? To pause their kidnapper into allowing his plan was working while they were really in control and getting answers out of him contemporaneously. Phyllis wasn't really sick, but they figured if the guard allowed. He'd get brassy and accidentally let commodity slip about who he was and what he wanted. And also there's the cleaner standby. Nausea of detergents can only mean one thing: Phyllis is pregnant. Sure, she's the mama of 2 grown kiddies, a grandmother doubly over, if you count Summer always claiming Harrison as, my son, my son, my son. But Phyllis is still youthful and mannish. Did you see her doing all those jumping jacks? Phyllis is completely vibrant enough to get pregnant. And this isn't Bane at all. Summer demands Kyle's attention while Claire meets Holden and tries a new drink. Plus, Chance gives Nick and Daniel an update on Phyllis and Sharon while Sharon and Phyllis move one step forward in their prisoner's game. Kyle and Claire went to the Genoa City Athletic Club for regale. They talked about how his parents had been arguing over the stylish James Bond. Claire admitted she had no way seen a Bond movie or had a martini. As they kissed, Summer arrived, asking to speak with Kyle. He didn't want to, but she claimed it was important. Claire understood and walked down. Summer told Kyle she was upset that Harrison might hear about Phyllis's exposure. Phyllis had promised to educate him Clunk Pond the day ahead, and since Harrison had endured in hijacking himself, this news could be particularly disturbing. She claimed they had to talk to him that night. Kyle didn't see the urgency, but Summer refused to back down. Apologizing for ruining his evening, she induced him to speak with Harrison upstairs. Claire returned and jokingly said she felt like she was interposing. Kyle explained that they demanded to talk to Harrison about Phyllis conceivably being abducted. Claire understood and agreed to stay for him, but Summer suggested cataloging. Claire offered to stay at the bar, which annoyed Summer. At the bar, Claire ordered a martini and set up it strong. Holden sat beside her and talked about martinis and matins before ordering them both the ultimate. She liked it more, and as they gabbled, Holden revealed he was a Daniel Craig addict but preferred the Bond books to the pictures. He admitted his stylish friend teased him for only liking 19th-century French fabrication. As Holden and Claire introduced themselves, Summer and Kyle returned and noticed them. Summer remarked that Claire had made a new friend. Kyle intruded, streamlined Claire on Harrison, and Summer thanked him before heading upstairs. Kyle was surprised to see Claire drinking, and she explained that Holden had introduced her to matins. Claire and Kyle returned to their table, where he apologized. She told him she was hovered by Summer. Finishing her drink, she admitted she couldn't tell if the alcohol or Kyle was making her feel lightheaded. At society, Nick and Victoria bandied the situation with Sharon and Phyllis. Nick bothered that they were ignoring him, but Victoria assured him they weren't. She encouraged him to lean on family and stay strong for the kiddies. Daniel showed up. He said he'd been trying to assure Lucy but didn't believe himself. He stressed they might no way see his mama or Sharon again. He'd talked to Chance, but the police had no leads. Summer was panicked, and Lucy had lots of questions. Victoria offered to have Johnny spend time with Lucy for support. Chance showed up, and he'd news. Security footage showed Phyllis fading from the GCAC, followed by a white van leaving the scene. It was the same van that had been in the parking lot where Sharon was last seen. What's more, the van was reported stolen the same day, and they both faded. Nick felt this was the key to bringing them home. In a basement, Phyllis felt like she had swallowed battery acid. Sharon prompted her to drink from a water bottle with a sticker, believing it was the cure. Phyllis dithered, bothered it might be Bane. Sharon turned to the intercom and demanded answers. Phyllis indicted her of tried murder but ultimately drank the water. As she suffered violent pain, Sharon encouraged her to move around. Ultimately, the pain faded. Sharon believed they had passed some kind of test. Phyllis was bitter, calling their prisoner a psychotic wannabe game show host. A voice on the intercom praised Sharon for her conduct. She questioned whether Phyllis would have saved her if their places were reversed. Phyllis coldly suggested Sharon merited Bane but admitted she presumably wouldn't have let her die. Exhausted, Phyllis lay down, and Sharon comforted her she was safe. Holding Sharon's hand, Phyllis thanked her before falling asleep. The voice returned, felicitating Sharon and saying she was one step closer to emancipation. Sharon demanded to know the prisoner's motives, but they only called it in trial and told her to rest. Realizing they weren't being freed anytime soon, Sharon screamed in frustration. Phyllis woke up, and Sharon advised her that they might not be suitable to escape. Phyllis poised while Sharon quests for the cure, and Billy and Nick worry about them. Plus, Nate takes charge when Holden dispatches Audra for fellowship. At the Genoa City Athletic Club, Nate asked Audra about Holden. She claimed the situation was all Holden's doing, though he claimed he demanded a friend and wanted it to be her. Audra wasn't interested but admitted he was their only way to learn further about Damien. Back at the extension, they bandied Amy's strength and hoped Nate's croaker friend could help her. Audra participated that Holden said they were musketeers until he started working for Damien. She suspected Holden begrudged him and noted Damien's bad temper. Nate said that Lily had been probing. He bothered Damien would flee if he set up out, which would be bad for Amy. He also said that Damien was only a CEO and not a business proprietor. They wondered why he prevaricated. Nate bothered that too numerous people were prying, which could ruin everything. He still hoped for a relationship with his half-family. Audra advised caution while they gathered further information. Nate remained determined to grease a conciliation for Amy's sake. Audra promised to keep probing discreetly, but Nate expostulated to her using Holden for information. She teased that he might be jealous, proving their relationship signified. They kissed. When Holden texted Audra apologizing and asking for fellowship, Nate replied for her, agreeing to it. Meanwhile, in a basement, Phyllis exercised and indicted Sharon of making a pale list. They rode, with Phyllis mocking Sharon's history. Sharon prompted Phyllis to help break their prisoners' mysteries, but Phyllis refused, claiming she had formerly figured them out. When Sharon pushed, Phyllis revealed the answer was remission. Still, Phyllis said she'd rather die than forgive Sharon. Sharon continued searching for suggestions. Their discussion turned to once backstabbings, and Phyllis claimed she'd no way forgive Sharon. Suddenly, Phyllis doubled over in pain, stewing she had been poisoned. Sharon called for help, and their prisoner told her to find the cure. As Phyllis groaned in agony, she apologized. Sharon searched frenetically and ultimately set up a water bottle with a sticker and assumed it was the cure. Away, Nick visited Billy to bandy Phyllis's exposure. Billy had formerly made calls but agreed commodity was wrong. They suspected about possible kidnappers, including Ian Ward, but Nick was certain Ian had been cremated. They decided that Phyllis and Sharon were likely taken together. Nick was frustrated and felt the family was falling piecemeal again. Billy reminded him to be kinder to himself. As they bandied their coming way, estate security called to report that there were no leads from surveillance footage. Nick left to check in with others.